Hello and welcome to the Structural Guide platform. In this video, I am going to discuss GATE 2017 question paper. So let's move into the first question. The first question from the structure subject is the question number 7, and the question is cold joint refers to. The correct answer for this question is option number B. It is the interface between an already setting concrete and a fresh batch of concrete. So let's understand what is expansion joint. Expansion joint, that is generally provided in large span concrete members, and expansion joints are provided to release the stress that is developed due to the volume change in the concrete. So this is basically provided to release the stress, which stress that is developed due to volume change. So let's looking to the option number C, that is the structural crack arrested by the embedding metal rods. So this is also wrong, because this is talking about the structural cracks, not about the joints. So let's moving to the next option, that is option number D, joining of two similar metal in vacuum. So joining of two similar metal in vacuum is known as the cold welding. It is related to the welding. Let's moving to the next question, that is question number 8. Cylinderness ratio of a column is represented as. So let's first understand what is the cylinderness ratio of a column. Cylinderness ratio is equals to effective length upon the radius of gyration. The radius of gyration. So let's understand some basic concept regarding the cylinderness ratio and the L effective. What is the L effective and what is the radius of gyration? So the cylinderness ratio is equals to L effective, or I can say the effective length upon radius of gyration. Here radius of gyration is equals to under root I by A, where I is equals to moment of inertia and A equals to area of cross section. So let's understand from a simple example. Suppose the column is having B by D cross sectional dimension. In this case, the area is equals to B into D, and the moment of inertia about the neutral axis, moment of inertia about the CG, that is I, is equals to BD³ by 12. So by using these two cross-sectional property, that is area and I, you can calculate the radius of gyration. So for this case, radius of gyration is equals to under root I by A. So under root I is equals to BD³ by 12 and area is BD. So you can see here this is equals to under root D square by 12. So 1 by 2 root 3 D. So this is the way to calculate the radius of gyration. So what about the L effective, the effective length of the column? So in the IS 456, the L effective, the effective length, it depends upon the end condition of the column. End condition of the column. End condition means, look at the first one. In this case, both the end of the column are hinged. Both the end of the column are hinged. This is hinged support. This is hinged cushion. This is fixed support. This is hinge support. So these are the types of the end connection. So in the IS 456, it is given that the L effective for the various type of end condition. For the type 1, in which both the end is hinged, in this case L effective is equals to L. L effective is equals to L, and what is L? I can say L is equals to L unsupported. L unsupported means it is the distance between the connection. It is the distance between the connection. So for the case number 2, when the one end is fixed and another one is hinge support, in this case L effective is equals to L by root 2. For the case number 3, that is both the ends are fixed. For in this case L effective is equals to L by 2, and when one end is fixed and another one is free, so for this case L effective is equals to 2L. So let's understand one more thing from the slenderness ratio. That is in the IS 456. In the IS 456 of clause number 25.3, it is given the slenderness limit of the column. So the clause number 25.3.1, it says the unsupported length between end strength shall not exceed 60 times the least lateral dimension of a column. That means if the column is having cross section B by D, in which suppose B is less than D, so for this case least lateral dimension is equals to B. Least lateral dimension is equals to B. So you can say, so by the IS 456, the unsupported length, that is L, should not exceed 60 times of B, right? L should not greater than 60 times of B. This is valid for both the end are restrained. L should not be greater than 100 B square by D. This is valid if one end is unrestrained. One end is unrestrained means one end is free. So this is what we have to understand from the slenderness ratio of the column. The correct option for this question is option number B, effective length upon radius of gyration. So let's moving to the next question, that is question number 36. In this symmetrical truss, you have to find vertical force in the PQ. This is the member PQ. You have to calculate the force in the member PQ. For this type of problem, you need to remember two important rule, which is known as the rule of zero force member. So I am writing here the rule of zero force member. So the number one rule is, this is for the joint where two members are meeting. If two non-collinear members meet in an unloaded joint, both are zero force member. Both are zero force member. So look at this example. Suppose this is a joint. Here two members are meeting and there is no external load at this joint. So the forces in this member is 0. So the forces in this member is 0. So this is the rule of zero force member. So rule number 2. Rule number 2 is for 3-member joint. So second rule says if 3-member meet in an unloaded joint of which 2 members are collinear, then the force in the third member is 0. So you can see at the joint PQ, so at this joint, so you can see at joint P, here 3 members are meeting at the joint P, in which two member are collinear. So this member and this member are collinear. So the forces in the third member will be 0. So the answer for this question is the 0. So do remember rule of zero force member. This will help you to find forces in the member. Let's moving to the next question. That is question number 37. The question is value of bending moment in kilonewton meter at point C. So where is C? Under the load. C for a beam as shown in the above figure. So calculate the, so what I need to calculate, the moment at C. As I told you earlier, for the calculation of shear force and bending moment, do follow the simple steps. That is step number 1, that is calculate external reaction. Calculate external reaction. In this case, the external reactions are, since the load is coming, since the only downward load is coming on this beam, so there will be only one reaction at P, that is in upward direction, and at D, since D is a roller support, there will be one vertical reaction. So reaction I am naming it as VB and VD. So for the calculation of external reaction, you have to apply two basic equilibrium equation, summation Fy equals to 0 and moment at B or D is equals to 0, means moment at any joint is equals to 0. So I am applying summation Fy equals to 0, that means total forces in the vertical direction. I am equating the total force in the vertical direction. So I am moving from the left side. I am moving from the left side of the beam. The first load is of 20 kilonewton. So, and this is in downward. I am taking upward as a positive. So this is minus 20 plus VB in upward direction, so it is positive. Again 40 downward direction negative, and plus VD is equals to 0. So VB plus VD is equals to 60 kilonewton. VB plus VD is equals to 60 kilonewton. Now apply this moment about D is equals to 0. Moment about D is equals to 0. So you can see this is the D joint, this is the joint D. So I am taking it from the left side and I am taking clockwise moment positive. So the 20 kilonewton load will try to move beam in the anti-clockwise direction, so it is negative. So minus 20, and moment is force into perpendicular distance. The distance is 2 plus 3 plus 2.5. 2 plus 3 plus 2.5. VB will produce the moment about D in clockwise direction. So plus VB into the perpendicular distance 3 plus 2, and again this 40 kilonewton will produce the moment in anti-clockwise direction about the point D. So minus 40 into 2 is equals to 0. So you will get the VB here. You will get VB. So VB is equals to 46 kilonewton. V equals to 46. So you can calculate VD equals to 60 minus 46, that is 14 kilonewton. So let's moving to the next step. That is the step number 2. Calculate moment about point C. So the moment about point C, as you can see here, moment about C is equals to, I am taking it from the right side. So the VD is equals to 14 kilonewton. So VD into 2. So VD is 14 into 2, that is 28 kilonewton meter. So the answer is 28 kilonewton meter. Right. So let's moving to the last question from the GATE 2017. The question is, match the instrument with the corresponding test in the group 2. The pycnometer, which is used to calculate the specific gravity. The pycnometer used to calculate the specific gravity of the sand and aggregate. So you can say pycnometer instrument is used to calculate the specific gravity of the coarse aggregate as well as the fine aggregate. So the next is Brinell's apparatus. This is used to calculate the surface hardness test. This is used to calculate the surface hardness test. Los Angeles used to calculate the abrasion test. It is used to calculate the abrasion test. And the Vickett apparatus, this is used to calculate the initial and final setting time of the concrete. Initial and final setting time of cement. The initial and final setting is the property of the cement. So the initial setting time, I have already told in the previous class, the initial setting time is 30 minutes and the final setting time is 10 hours for the OPC, ordinary Portland cement. So this is what we have to understand from the GATE 2017 question paper. If you like this video, do subscribe the channel and share with your friends. Thank you.